He motioned for his partner. Get statements. I want body cams rolling from now on. And notify the watch commander. This just became a potential international incident. Asterisk, the younger deputy looked between the three men. Are they under arrest? Asterisk, detain them, the senior officer said. We'll sort it out with legal. But yeah, they're in trouble. Asterisk, one of the HOA guards, the youngest, the one who hadn't drawn his weapon, started begging. Please, I didn't even touch my gun. I didn't know who she was. I didn't mean to. Asterisk, you don't get to threaten someone's life and then say you didn't mean it. The deputy snapped. You're lucky she showed restraint. Asterisk, he turned to Yael. Ma'am, may I ask why you didn't file charges already? Asterisk, Yael gave a soft, tired sigh. Because I've spent too many years in countries where the law doesn't protect people like me. I wanted to believe America was better. Asterisk, his face tightened. Ma'am, you have my word, we're going to handle this. I'll escalate this to the district attorney myself. There will be accountability. Asterisk, I felt a surge of something between anger and relief. We weren't just another family being pushed around by an overreaching HOA. Asterisk, this time. They had crossed a line they didn't even know existed. Asterisk, as the HOA men were handcuffed and led away. The neighborhood started peeking out. Curtains twitched. Phones filmed from porches. Asterisk, yell. I whispered as the officers loaded the HOA men into the cruiser. What would have happened if you'd actually considered them a threat? Asterisk, she looked at me with steel in her eyes. They'd be unconscious. Or worse. The deputy overheard and gave her a curious glance. Out of curiosity, he said, almost carefully, how many other things are in that office I should know about? Asterisk, Yell gave a small, unreadable smile. Nothing illegal. But let's just say, if someone tried to storm it, they'd regret it within 3 seconds. He didn't press further. Smart. The third guy, the youngest, stood paralyzed. No weapon drawn. Just wide eyes. His lips moved, but no words came out. Asterisk, I had seen Yale in practice before. Sparring sessions with former Mossad friends. But this was different. Asterisk, this was precise. Calm. Lethal, if she needed it to be. Asterisk, who? Who are you? The third man finally gasped, taking a step back. Asterisk, Yale turned to him, slowly removing her foot from the second guard's back. Someone who's trained longer than you've been. Alive, she said. You drew weapons on private property. On a foreign defense consultant under diplomatic protection. Do you have any idea how badly you've just screwed up? Asterisk, the buzzcut guy groaned on the ground. You broke my damn wrist. Asterisk, no, Yael said. If I broke it, you'd be unconscious right now. Asterisk, I stepped outside. Slowly. Hands raised. Not for them, but so Yael wouldn't think I was a threat. Her training ran deep. In moments of adrenaline, even familiarity could blur. Asterisk, she looked at me. Then back at the men. Asterisk, call real law enforcement. She told the third guy, who was still frozen. Right now. And make sure they bring someone with rank. This just went way above your HOA chain of command. He fumbled for his radio. Yes, ma'am, yes. Calling now, he STAMMERED. Asterisk, good, she said. And don't even think about touching those weapons. Asterisk, one of the disarmed pistols lay near her bare foot. She kicked it casually into the corner of the deck, like it was a soccer ball. The second was still holstered, but its owner wasn't getting up anytime soon. Asterisk, the silence that followed was almost surreal. Birds chirped. The wind rustled the trees. Somewhere, a lawnmower buzzed. Asterisk, but on our lawn. 3 would-be authority figures lay defeated, 2 in the dirt, 1 in a panic, and none with even a shred of dignity left. Asterisk, Yale walked past them, back toward her office. Let me know when the actual police arrive, she said, without turning around. Asterisk, where are you going? I asked. Asterisk, to finish what I started, she replied, stepping inside and shutting the glass door behind her. Asterisk, and just like that, the woman I married, the one who made breakfast with hummus and taught our daughter how to swim, had reminded the world exactly who she used to be. Asterisk, and who she still was. Asterisk, the HOA men were still frozen in place when the sirens sliced through the morning calm. Red and blue lights flashed against the glass walls of Yao's office, bouncing wildly off the surrounding oak trees. Within moments, 2 marked sheriff's vehicles pulled into our driveway, gravel crunching beneath their tires. Asterisk, I stepped forward. Hands raised, we didn't call them. They pulled guns on my wife. She's the one who disarmed them. Asterisk, one of the HOA officers, still limping from Yale's takedown, shouted, "She assaulted us. We were doing a lawful inspection." Asterisk, shut up. I muttered under my breath. Asterisk, the two deputies exited their cruisers, hands instinctively near their holsters. They scanned the scene. One man clutching his wrist, another sprawled on the ground groaning, a third standing stiff like a statue, and my wife, asterisk, standing barefoot, composed, in athletic pants and a black t-shirt, arms folded behind her back, like she was still standing at attention. Asterisk, the senior deputy, an older black man with tired eyes and a clipped voice, stepped forward. Asterisk, "Sir, ma'am," he said. "We received a disturbance call. Reports of violence, possible assault. What's going on here?" Asterisk, before I could speak, Yael stepped forward. "I'll explain, but I'd prefer to do so officially, and with my credentials acknowledged." Asterisk, the deputy gave her a puzzled look. "Credentials?" Asterisk, without a word, she reached inside her office, retrieved her secured tablet, and tapped her fingerprint on the corner. A hidden biometric scanner lit up. The tablet unlocked, displaying a folder titled Joint Allied Cyber Operations Classified. Asterisk, she selected a document and handed the tablet to the deputy. Asterisk, he took it, looked down, and his brow furrowed. Then his eyes widened. His lips moved slightly as he read the opening lines. His posture straightened. Asterisk, Israeli Defense Attach. Clearance Level 5. U.S. Cybersecurity Task Exchange. You're a foreign military advisor. Asterisk, I was, Yao said coolly. Now I work under joint authorization on American soil, with full legal standing and protection under international cooperation protocol. Asterisk, the deputy looked from the screen to the HOA men. "You boys drew weapons on her." Asterisk, she wouldn't open the door, one stammered. "She ignored us. We had the right." Asterisk, "No, you didn't." The second deputy cut in sharply, voice laced with disbelief. "You're HOA security. You don't have rights to breach a private building. And you definitely don't have jurisdiction over federal-level diplomatic personnel." Asterisk, I told them, I said, stepping forward. I told them to back off. They escalated. My wife was on a classified call. They surrounded her office, drew their weapons, and threatened to breach private property. On camera, asterisk, Yale's expression didn't change. I have timestamps, surveillance, and audio. Would you like to see it? Asterisk, the senior deputy nodded quickly. Please. Asterisk, she projected the feed from her tablet onto the side of the glass office via a hidden projector embedded in the wall, one of many features she installed herself. Asterisk, there it was. The HOA men shouting, posturing, drawing weapons, the threats, the escalation, all captured in perfect HD, with a timestamp overlay synced to the same atomic clock used by Israeli intelligence. Asterisk. The footage showed everything, and it showed Yal standing silently inside until the moment she stepped out to protect herself. Asterisk, the deputy turned slowly back to the HOA guards. "You said she attacked you." They didn't answer. He motioned for his partner. "Get statements. I want body cams rolling from now on. And notify the watch commander. This just became a potential international incident." Asterisk, the younger deputy, looked between the three men. "Are they under arrest?" Asterisk, detain them, the senior officer said. "We'll sort it out with legal, but yeah, they're in trouble." Asterisk, one of the HOA guards, the youngest, the one who hadn't drawn his weapon, started begging, "Please, I didn't even touch my gun. I didn't know who she was. I didn't mean to." Asterisk, you don't get to threaten someone's life and then say you didn't mean it, the deputy snapped. "You're lucky she showed restraint." Asterisk, he turned to Yael, "Ma'am, may I ask why you didn't file charges already?" Asterisk, Yael gave a soft, tired sigh. "Because I've spent too many years in countries where the law doesn't protect people like me. I wanted to believe America was better." Asterisk, his face tightened. "Ma'am, you have my word. We're going to handle this. I'll escalate this to the district attorney myself. There will be accountability." Asterisk, I felt a surge of something between anger and relief. We weren't just another family being pushed around by an overreaching HOA. Asterisk, this time, they had crossed a line they didn't even know existed. Asterisk, as the HOA men were handcuffed and led away, the neighborhood started peeking out. Curtains twitched. Phones filmed from porches. Asterisk, Yael, I whispered as the officers loaded the HOA men into the cruiser. "What would have happened if you'd actually considered them a threat?" Asterisk, she looked at me with steel in her eyes. They'd be unconscious. Or worse. The deputy overheard and gave her a curious glance. Out of curiosity, he said, almost carefully, how many other things are in that office I should know about? Asterisk Yael gave a small, unreadable smile. Nothing illegal. But let's just say, if someone tried to storm it, they'd regret it within 3 seconds. He didn't press further. Smart man. Asterisk. By the time the cruisers rolled out, the sky had turned, fully blue. My wife turned, stepped barefoot back into her office, and resumed her day like nothing had happened. Just another threat, neutralized. Just another morning. Asterisk. Asterisk, the sun was beginning to dip behind the cypress trees, casting long shadows across our ranch-style home. Golden light spilled across the porch where we sat. My hand curled around a warm mug of chamomile tea, hers around black espresso. Asterisk, it had been 2 weeks since the incident. Asterisk, the HOA patrol hadn't returned. The board had gone suspiciously quiet. And our neighbors, the same ones who once gossiped about my wife's secretive office, now crossed the street just to avoid making eye contact. Not out of hate, out of fear, out of respect. Yael sat beside me, her dark hair pulled into a tight braid that rested against her shoulder. Her eyes fixed on the horizon, like she was scanning for something more than a sunset. Something distant, something strategic. Asterisk, you didn't even break a sweat, I said quietly, glancing at her over my cup. Asterisk, she didn't look at me, just gave the faintest nod, eyes still on the trees. If I'd wanted to scare them, she said, her voice calm, and edged with that signature Israeli grit, I would have let them inside. Asterisk, I nearly choked on my tea. White, you wanted them outside. Asterisk, she turned, finally meeting my eyes. They would have triggered the pressure sensors in the floor. They were 15 seconds away from learning why that office has no visible locks. That hit me hard, because I helped design that space with her. We'd worked with military-grade contractors. Reinforced glass. Noise-canceling insulation. The door had a retina scanner. Asterisk, but I never fully understood until that moment. My wife hadn't built an office. She'd built a war room. And those HOA patrol guys, they had been this close to setting off a counterintelligence-grade silent alarm. Asterisk, they had no idea, I said, shaking my head slowly. Asterisk, they thought I was a housewife on a Zoom call, she replied, and for a moment, I let them believe it. It told me everything I needed to know. Asterisk, the silence hung between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind that wrapped you in clarity. The kind that followed a storm. Asterisk, you ever miss it? I asked after a long pause. The old life. Asterisk Yael stared out at the horizon again. The way her jaw tensed told me she was weighing her answer carefully. She always did that. Even with me. Asterisk, I miss the structure, she said finally. That clarity of rules, the understanding that you only draw a weapon if you're prepared to die that day. But this, She waved toward the trees, the house, the open land around us. This is what I fought for. Peace isn't something you're given. It's something you defend. Every day. Quietly. Asterisk, her voice dipped a little. Softer now. Asterisk, and sometimes, that means neutralizing threats with a handshake. Sometimes, with silence. And sometimes, She looked at me, eyes like steel beneath the softness, with a wrist lock and a shattered ego. Asterisk, I couldn't help but grin. They're still talking about it. You know, the HOA board had a safety debrief. The guy you threw to the ground sprained his shoulder. I heard he's telling people he got jumped by a special ops team. Asterisk, let him, Yael said flatly. It's the closest he'll get to knowing what that feels like. Asterisk, we both laughed. But underneath the humor was something much heavier. Something those men would never understand. Asterisk, they didn't just violate property lines. They violated boundaries of respect. They mistook authority for power. Asterisk, and they had the gall to bring guns to a woman who'd spent 2 decades teaching elite soldiers how to disable suicide bombers without blinking. Asterisk, I didn't want to hurt them, she said after a long moment. That's the part people never understand. Force isn't always the first option. But if you make the mistake of drawing a weapon on someone who's spent her life mastering restraint, the outcome will never be what you expected. Asterisk, I leaned closer, my voice quiet. You didn't just show them force. You showed them what it looks like when arrogance meets discipline. You embarrassed them with precision. Her lip twitched almost a smile. They embarrassed themselves, she said simply. I just reminded them the world doesn't revolve around their neighborhood watch fantasies. Asterisk, the last rays of sun kissed the treetops, and the shadows deepened across the land. Somewhere off in the distance, an owl called, a dog barked. The world kept moving. Asterisk, but here, on our little patch of earth, everything was still. Asterisk, I know you didn't ask for this, I said. You didn't come here to be a symbol. Asterisk yell, exhaled slowly, her shoulders relaxing a little. I didn't come here to be quiet either. And that was it. This woman, my wife, had led operations in Beirut, negotiated releases in Syria, decoded militant chatter in Farsi and Arabic. She could assemble a sniper rifle blindfolded. She'd been dropped from helicopters into freezing oceans. Asterisk, and now she drank espresso on a porch, while neighbors whispered about her like a myth. Let them whisper. Because when three small men decided to pull weapons in a game of suburban control, they learned, painfully, that you never corner a lioness who's chosen peace.